Hello, my Teaserking family. This will be not too long, and then I've got a private class to talk about in college football after this. So please bear with me. I have 3 plays going tonight, including a lock. I have locked the game tonight. Um, let's take a quick look at gold. So gold ended at 25.62. So it's okay. It was down to 25.55. So it didn't do much. 25.75, 25.60 was the range for the day. Silver at 30.25 is the biggest joke in the world. Anyway, did watch Mark Mgwire. Everything's positive. Nobody's selling gold. It's all this this bullshit Ponzi scheme of the dollar is still weak as hell and nothing, there's no point in it. So don't get upset or worried. Oh my God, gold's going down. It's not. We know it's derivative. We know they're just getting out of their options. That's all this is. It's going to go way, way higher. Putin is going to have the gold back currency late November or like December 1st. That's still there. Nothing has changed with BRICS. They are still going on with gold back currency. Nothing Trump's going to do. Trump's going to basically kill the dollar with the tariffs because he thinks he doesn't understand prices don't stay. If you take competition out of the way, so if I'm Canadian Club and I'm competing with Doors and Maker's Mark and Black Label, I got to keep my price down, right? Okay, I'll charge $100 for this because I got competition, but it is 12 years old. If it was regular, it'd be $20. But if Trump comes in and tariffs it and says, well, wait, no, Doers, you're Scottish and the Irish whiskey and Japanese suki, sake, whatever. No, you can't. And Black Label, sorry. Basically, we can only have Canadian Club. Or this is Canadian, so no, you can't. I'm going to tariff you. You're going to have to sell this for $500. Well, nobody will buy it. But what he's missing is if everything's $500, and let's say it's Johnny Walker Black Label, which is normally, let's say, $100, what do? Well, you've gotten rid of all the competition for me. I'm not going to sell it at 100. I'm going to sell it at $495 because these guys all have to sell it for 500 because they're being tariffed. So it doesn't help the consumer at all. It's going to cause a mass depression, aka 1929, unless you're in gold and silver, in which those prices will go to the moon. Enough said. It's as easy as that. Everybody will be hurt because Doers and Canadian Club won't be able to sell it. It's going to hurt their economies because they're counting on them to make the sales. With nobody's buying Doers or the Scotch, all the Scotch from Scotland, the champagne from France, they can't sell it. They're going to be hurting. So what Trump's doing is about the stupidest thing you can do. I don't know who thinks Trump's intelligent. Because you're rich does not make you smart. And I will put Elon Musk in that category. Because he's rich does not make him smart. Anyway, we'll get into economics maybe tomorrow after college. We'll talk about Mark Mgwire, but everything's positive. Putin, gold back currency, right around December 1st-ish. He's ready to roll. He's being sanctioned. He doesn't have a choice. He apparently gave Trump an out, and Trump didn't take it. And with Elon Musk at his side, two morons. They're about as stupid as Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. Anyway, that's what's going on. So let's get to college. Now we have a game at 8:00. It's 8:00. North Texas, UTSA. UTSA is 1.5 now, 73. We've got Colorado State 8.5, 47.5, also at 8:00. we've got Washington 4.5, 47 to UCLA. That's where it's been. UCLA is playing much better. Garbers actually looks like a quarterback. Washington is okay. This should be a tight game. And our last game is at 10-15. Arizona 1.5, 46.5 to Houston. Yeah, all I can say is Houston's been playing. They beat Kansas State last week. They're playing much better, and Arizona's kind of bad. They're actually a W team. All right, tomorrow, the Liberty 14-52 to UMass. Liberty's a B team, 22 defense. UMass is a Z team with a 32. Liberty's a very good offense, good quarterback, Salter. Enough said. Colorado, Utah. This total has been dropping. Utah, I didn't even know Rose was out for the season, and we know Rising's out for the season. Colorado is laying 13 and 44.5 now. That line's gone up from 11.5. And the total has gone from 47.5 to 44.5. Utah, strong defense, strong. It's an under because they don't have a quarterback, and they got a strong defense, killer defense. They held BYU to 22, which is good because BYU's been scoring 35 a game. Colorado, okay. Prime's okay. Their defense has been really good. Look for a low-scoring game here. Not a lot of points. Ohio State, 28.5, 44.5 to Northwestern. We know everything we need to know here. Ohio State can't lose this game. Tulane, 7.5 to the Navy. Very interesting game. Tulane is an A team. Navy's kind of a B. Tulane, good offense, 19 defense. Navy, a B team with a 22, passing the ball more. This will be a very tough game. This is not, take Tulane and laying the 1. Clemson, Pitt. Clemson, 11.5, 52.5. Both teams could score, but then we wonder where they go. Clemson's more of an A team with a 23 defense. Pitt's an over with the 25. Over-under on the game is 52.5. So I don't know. It was 54. Clemson was scoring a lot, and then that ended, and Pitt was scoring a lot, and that ended. So I'm just confused. LTAC, Western Kentucky, 12, 52.5. Again, Western Kentucky needs the game for their Conference USA. LTAC's an under team, 23 defense. They're laying 12. If you want to go under 7, Western Kentucky, it should be around there. Texas, 12, 57.5 to Arkansas. This is a big number. Arkansas is pretty good, not great, but pretty good. Arkansas's defense is a 26. Texas is a 12. Enough said. Auburn, 24.5, 46 to Lou Monroe. Auburn doesn't score. Lou Monroe, decent defense, but again, they're way outmatched here. But they're not a Z team, Lou Monroe. Good game here. Marshall, 8.5, 56.5 to Coastal Carolina. Marshall needs this game for the division. Coastal Carolina is an over team with a 31 defense. Marshall's a B with a 23. They both can put up points for sure. Jacksonville State, Florida International. Jacksonville State's 13-59. Jacksonville State, they need the game for the division. Alabama, 42, 57.5 to Mercer. I can't believe we're not all over this one. What the fuck is Alabama playing Mercer for? And you're going to let this team in the playoffs because they beat Mercer. It's disgraceful. Temple, 250.5 to Florida Atlantic. No, the Temple's a Z team. I don't know how they're favored. Florida Atlantic's a W, so both teams suck here. Illinois, 2.5, 47.5 to MSU, Michigan State. Both teams are under team. Illinois, 21 defense. Michigan State, 24 defense. 47.5. They'll never get there. Sam Houston, 18.5, 42.5 to Tennessee State. Sam Houston's also a team that needs it for Conference USA. Tennessee State is a Z team with the 32 defense. Cal 10-57.5 to Syracuse. Cal's good. They're a B team with a 19 defense. Syracuse over sometimes a 29 defense. I think Cal, well, they're up to 10 and the 57.5. So it's going to be hard for Syracuse to go to the West Coast, and Cal is much the better team here. although you do pause because Syracuse beat my Vegas team, so I don't think they're going to beat Cal. I think Cal's got them. Hawaii 2.5, 61 to Utah State. This is under against over. Hawaii playing very good defense. Utah State putting up 50 points on everybody. So they seem like a live dog, but they lose every game. They don't win, but they score a lot. But you can't bet the over because Hawaii doesn't score. So tough game. SMU 18-54 to BC. SMU and A team, they must win to get into the playoffs, not only to win the ACC. BC, their quarterback's out. That's why the line's up to 18-54. It's probably an under. SMU will light them up, but BC can't do much. BC's defense is a 23, SMU at 22. They're an 18 BC, so you look at it like SMU must win. They're at home, and their quarterback's out for BC. So it's a tough one, though. To lay 12, it's a bit much. BC could kill you there, but I don't know. It's a little high for me. Oregon State 44.5 to the Air Force. Air Force is a Z team. Oregon State an over. I'm shocked that this line is 20. I had 21. It's 4. It's 3. Something doesn't add up there. Air Force stinks. Although they did change quarterbacks. They started playing a little better. They both have 28 defenses. I have no idea here. South Florida, 2.5, 54.5 to Charlotte. South Florida is an over team with the 29 defense. Charlotte's a W with the 34 defense. Good luck here. I don't have a clue. Penn State, 29.5, 51 to Purdue. Big Purdue. Purdue's a Z team with a 38 defense. Penn State's an A team, the 14 defense, but they're not that explosive. The big number for Penn State on the road, but they'll probably do like Ohio State, 35-3 or something like that. Somewhere in that neighborhood. LSU, Bobby, 3.5, 56 to Florida. Again, if you're typing something, I can't see it. I don't know why. I type in mine just to see that it's moving, but I'm not seeing any chats. And I know I've been coming on at different times, and it's Friday night, so I don't care. I mean, you guys just watch it when you get home if you're out eating. I was out at dinner, so the Mongolian barbecue. So very good. I'll get into this Stoic. I have 2 Stoic stories to tell you. So LSU 3.5, 56. Florida's got their quarterback Langway back, which is amazing. He couldn't get off the field, and now he's going to play. LSU with Bobby, they're the better team. Florida at home, it's a tough game. Notre Dame 22-50.5 to Virginia. Notre Dame has to win. Virginia's not that. They're not that good. They're an E team with a 27 defense. Notre Dame should score plenty in this game. Louisville 20.5, 57.5 to Stanford. Stanford's terrible. Louisville's good. I don't think Louisville can get into the ACC. No, SMU, Clemson, and Miami. They're a little bit out to make, to win the ACC. Stanford's terrible. So Stanford's got a 35 defense. So Louisville should be scoring a lot in this game. I don't know if they'll cover the over because I don't know if you're going to get help from Stanford. Georgia Southern, our boys, 7.5, 54 to Troy. Georgia Southern's an over team with a 30 defense. Troy's an E team with a 28 defense. James Madison, 2.5, 52 to Old Dominion. I think Old Dominion's a live dog here. They seem to play these type of teams very well. Baylor, West Virginia. Baylor's 1.5, 59.5. Now, one note here. West Virginia looks like Green is back, the quarterback. He was questionable, and now he's not even on the injured list. Baylor's Baylor. They're okay. 1.5 and what is it? 59.5. Look for some points. Big USC against Nebraska. USC 7-51. They're switching to Maivia, the Vegas quarterback. They'll be much better. Nebraska with the 19 defense, but UCLA pounded them. I think USC wins this game. South Carolina 13.5, 41.5. The spread is way too high. Missouri is a very good team. They're not winning, but they're a very good team. Brady Cook's been injured. The backup's been okay. I don't know. I mean, South Carolina, I'm laying away from this game, but I think Missouri's a very strong dog here. Georgia State, 359.5 to Arkansas State. Neither team needs it. They're both pretty bad. Maryland, 554. Same. Maryland's a little more offense. Rutgers, probably a live dog in this game. Texas State, 27.5, 55.5. Southern Miss is the Z team. Texas State needs the game. They're like 2 games out, but they have this really good quarterback, McLeod, who's been in. He got hurt a little, played a little last week. I'm expecting him to play. I don't see him on the injured list, and Southern Miss is terrible. This is basically go against Southern Miss here. Arizona State, Kansas State. Scadaboo is probable, as is the quarterback, as is Kansas State. 7.5, 51.5 here. To me, this is a very low over. This over should be 58, 60. Boise, 14, 61.5 to San Jose State. They're just going to run Gentry and run, spot run, and San Jose State. Not a bad team, but I don't think they're in the league. They could keep it within 20, I think. Lou Lafayette against South Alabama. Lou Lafayette needs the game. South Alabama does not. They're a little bit out of it. Lou Lafayette. They're an A team, 22 defense. South Alabama's an over team, 25 defense. Georgia, Tennessee. Georgia 9.5, 47. Etnine, the running back, Georgia's out. 3 other running backs are out for Georgia. This has been their problem. All their good running backs are hurt. So they've been throwing the ball. Tennessee, very strong defense. I don't know if their quarterback is a game time decision type of thing. He's a volleyball player. Go play volleyball. I don't see Georgia. Well, this game could be close. Oregon, 13.5, 51. Oregon, they'll win by their normal 30 points. A&M 39-54 against New Mexico State. Are you kidding me? New Mexico State's a Z team with the 37 defense. That's all I need to say. They won't score. Memphis, 16, 62.5 to UAB. This is a tough one. Memphis is a B team. UAB is an over with a 35 defense, so Memphis should have no problem scoring on them. Cincinnati, Iowa State. I just can't figure this out. Iowa State, 7.5, 53. Iowa State lost to Kansas 48 to 20 or 48-28 or something like that last week. And they got their heart ripped out losing to Texas Tech 23-22 when they thought they were 24-23. They had the game won, and Texas Tech scored with 5 seconds left to win it. So they're still now they're at home, 2-game losing streak. They got a great coach. I don't see them losing this game. Cincinnati's okay. They lost to West Virginia with 2 pick sixes. Seriously, so I'm questioning what the hell is going on there. I think Iowa State wins close. As far as totals, I don't know. It's hard to go over against Iowa State. Again, they played Texas Tech 24-23. So Cincinnati's decent. They lost to at Colorado by 10. We got lucky. They scored late. They're not that strong. They're not as strong as Iowa State. I'm talking myself into a bet here, so we'll see. North Carolina, 10.5, 64 to Wake. Both teams are over. New Mexico, Washington State. Washington State's 11, 71.5. I think this number is way too high. New Mexico is going to struggle scoring against Washington State. They're a 27 defense. New Mexico's a 38. Washington State will probably win this game by 20. I think it'll be high scoring, but probably I don't know if it gets to the 60s because they did shut down Washington. So I'm not fucking with Washington State. BYU 2.5, 57.5 to Kansas. Kansas put up 48 on Iowa State. They're playing pretty good. They lost to K-State 28-27. BYU, they're going to be flat. They played a big emotional game with Utah, and they won it on the last second. And now here comes Kansas. How do you get up for Kansas after playing your rival Utah? BYU's in Utah, for those who didn't know. So it's a real tough game for BYU because Kansas is going to light them up. Now, can BYU match that and pull it out? BYU might have to do that again and pull out a late field goal, but look for Kansas to give them all they want. Vegas, 21.5, 54.5. Vegas needs it for for Mountain West. San Diego State's way out of it, but it's a big number, 21.5. And that be it. Now, teams needing the game for their conference again. The Army, Tulane and Navy playing each other. SMU, Clemson and Miami, ACC. BYU, Colorado, Iowa State, and Kansas State in the Big 12. Big 10, Indiana, who's off. Oregon at Wisconsin. Ohio State's got Northwestern. Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State, and Sam Houston in the Conference USA. Boise, Colorado State, and Vegas in the Mountain West. Bowling Green, Ohio, Miami of Ohio in the MAC. Tennessee, A&M, and Texas, and Georgia, and Old Mississippi State, and Alabama, all in the Southeast Conference. And then Georgia Southern, Marshall, and Lou Lafayette in the Sun Belt. Marshall they were in the MAC for a while. They were independent for a while. They're in the AAC. Now they're in the Sun Belt. It's like they keep moving around. All right. That is college football. I'm not going to do pros today. I did have the under, as I told you yesterday, in the Philly-Washington game, which was an easy under. They tried to make me sweat, but it just never got there. 24-18. They won by 6, 24-18 or 26-18. So it was a 44. We're under 53 or 55. We could have given up another touchdown. It would have been fine. But But that's exactly what I thought. You got an Army Navy type game with Barkley running and Washington with a pretty good defense, and Philly with their good defense held them to 18. Don't really know, didn't watch the game because I don't have Prime or NFL Network, and I'm not going to buy it. Not because I can't. It's just principle. I watch free football, right? So that's where we're at with that. All right, real quick, Mark Mgwire.
U.S., China, even Singapore are near all.
Overhang to soak up the deluge of similar automated fiat-driven inverse sellers. Now, the reason I bring this up now is because this is
with the USA Trump election win, and it really has thrown the markets into turmoil with speculators. I think they sold gold and silver, and they raised headlong into the risk assets, ballooning them to all-time highs. And now the sellers were the non-sticky CTAs that you talk about from time to time will get washed out and get rinsed by the cartel. And in this case, they had loaded up on naked longs. You talk a lot about naked shorts, but naked longs, and you closely track, the paper to physical balance point. Can you share with us what you're seeing into this heavy action here right after the U.S. elections?
Yeah, Shane, great to be with everyone.
Mark?
And thanks for getting the questions together. But yes, to answer, the knee-jerk market reaction, what it does is correctly read the protectionist so-called Trump trade as inflationary. And that's spiking bond yields higher into a rate-cutting Fed, of course, which is obviously an issue. Consequently, it's these risks that have driven a safe haven race into the dollar. Hence, the automated algorithm-driven inverse reaction in COMEX-centric 4% backed fiat gold and silver. So the action we're seeing is in fiat backed gold and silver. But it's important to distinguish that into the fiat gold and silver capitulations, which have also ignited naked short momentum bets to sell, other than what could be alchemized at the fixes, not a single ounce of physical gold has been put on offer into this sell-off. And quite the opposite. The selling is purely synthetic. So yes, Shane, the large volume CTA selling has been driven by a race into the dollar, which in the foreign exchange crosses, gold and silver trade as a currency cross. So that's similar, no different to really the dollar against the euro, the pound, the yen, etc. So buying one side of the cross means you're selling the other side of the cross. But under the immediate chatter, the current consolidation pullback exposes a significant weakening of the dollar against first-tier gold. Now, obviously, on a short-term 10-minute chart, it doesn't appear to be visible. In fact, what we'll discern shortly is central bank, sovereign, and institutional physical buying have significantly stepped up their buying into this dip, actively alchemizing this synthetically derived bearing in mind that's a 96% leverage gold and silver driven discount into physical. And there's no way of escaping these physical delivery demands that spill out of the casino's back door into the Basel III compliant global delivery markets. Now, the underlying T+1 flow, and we've talked about T+1, it simply means that when a COMEX position lands in London, it is then becomes Basel III compliant, and they have 1 day to deliver. So this T+1 flow has yet to be fully funded, like ideal. That it means from a 96% leverage position to a fully funded position. And then of course, they have to physically source this bullion at the market price, and then it has to be delivered. Now, the rising dollar as weighted against the dollar index basket, which comprises of 5 other competing but equally debasing fiat currencies. So, and obviously they are the euro, the Japanese yen, the British pound, Canadian dollar, Swedish krona, and of course the Swiss franc. And it's the dollar rising inside this fiat basket, which actually benchmarks fiat gold. It's important to distinguish fiat gold is not physical gold.
Paper.
The resulting action has consequently driven the automated, algo-driven, fiat-centric, strong dollar and tail wagging the dog bearish gold action. So really that's what we're evidencing now. However, into this automated casino bubble trade, not a single ounce has been put on sale. Quite the reverse. In fact, I was on calls with our liquidity providers this morning. This is Wednesday, the 13th. This morning, I was on calls with our liquidity providers directly following Bloomberg's interview with Mark Anderson. He's the UBS co-head of really a 1.6 trillion global asset management fund. He confirmed UBS is buying gold at current levels, also verifying that central banks are selling treasuries to buy safe haven gold. This is more an attestament to what we've been talking about.
UBS is Switzerland.
And as we've evidenced into the very similarly driven, automated, momentum-driven May lows, look at that in a minute, it took actually 4 sessions for the momentum, 96% leverage supply, to be overcome by commercials forced to take the long side to meet this T+1 delivery obligation, and it drove a $150 short squeeze. So perhaps this is a good place to actually look at the charts. As usual, we're recording this episode between the AM and the PM fix on Wednesday, and that happens to be Wednesday the 13th in this case. And obviously, so we've just experienced CPI volatility. So let's just capture that a moment ago. And so expect a little bit of volatility as we go through the charts here. Let's stick to the medium term, larger picture. We're just going to ignore the very short term volatility. But let's have a look at what we're seeing. The current sell-off has exposed a growing lack of purchasing power relative to globally priced physical gold. And under the smoke and mirrors action, liquidity providers report this discount has once again driven the largest central bank buying actually since May the 1st rally after the dollar index hit 106.49, with spot gold fixing that day at 2,300 in massive and similarly driven central bank and institutional demand. Now, what drove the following May low $150 short squeeze, and we're just looking at here to here initially, was the rinsing out of the naked long element of the speculator froth that had been hanging on for the ride. And in this case, we're talking about a similar kind of sell-off where with the speculators were on the short side. Now, given the unraveling of automated leveraged sellers into very similar April to May dollar index rally, obviously dollar index meaning that gold is sold on the other side of that. It took four full sessions really for the T+1 overhang to soak up the deluge of similar automated fiat-driven inverse sellers. Now, the reason I bring this up now is because this is just what we're witnessing at this time, only at around a $300 higher gold price than we saw, that we're evidencing at this point. Even if we see some insider bid pulling into just now we had CPI, we've got PPI on Thursday, it'll only serve to further coil the rebound rally driven by central bank and institutional demand. And we'll kind of look at that now. But to answer our subscriber questions, which is what this is about, In order to best assess where we see the paper to physical balance point, in other words, the next higher physically determined stair step, and we've seen them along the way here. Now we have this pullback, and it's not that dissimilar to what we saw between April and May. So we need to look beyond the extremely volatile post-election so-called Trump trade action. So let's start by looking at the footprints, which under the chart chatter, which currently reveal an extremely bullish over $290 dollar index decoupling against first-year gold, which this current sell-off has actually enabled us to benchmark more recently over the last 5 months. Now, as you know, we're recording this episode on Wednesday the 13th, so using current data to drill down into the action, so as to illustrate the extent that the dollar has been decoupling from an increasingly physically settled global gold price, we just need to benchmark this week's, that's yesterday's, $106,178 index high, which was obviously yesterday's the 12th, versus the same date, June 26, 106,130 high. So even though it has exceeded that slightly higher, so that was the highest print that we could find to really benchmark the gold price. And gold price printed 2304. That was the gold price low was 2304 right here. So given that gold benchmarked a simultaneous capitulation low, we're talking gold futures here, of 25.9570 into yesterday's dollar index highs, gold evidenced a $290 higher gold price than where we just benchmarked this last dollar high. In other words, as you can see, the dollar, even though the dollar printed an even higher high than back on the 26th of June, it really does evidence the dollar has lost purchasing power against a globally settled physical price.
That's
the
inflation.
decoupling is also evident in foreign exchange gold versus US Treasuries. As UBS just reaffirmed today, central banks and the well-connected institutionals and the bullion banks are selling US Treasuries to buy physical gold, which is assistive in driving up bond yields. And there's a lagging effect, as these rising bond yields also drive automated knee-jerk legacy synthetic gold selling. Ironically, this forces the 96% leveraged sellers to dig a deeper hole, which will once again be disruptively unwound. We're very, very close to the inflection point we witnessed here.
Hey, Andrew, into these higher physically determined gold.
All right, Paula. Let's get to BRICS.
Yeah, Shane, as we outlined in our last
Favorite
episode,
topic.
when it looked likely Trump was going to win, Putin, if you remember, had offered Trump an opportunity to back off US sanctions and move to reverse some of the last administration's dollar weaponization efforts, and outlining, if you remember, the quote, the risk of rushing into BRICS single currency plan. That was definitely an olive branch. It was offering an opportunity for central banks to begin cooperating, specifically Trump's regime, and really was this was conjoined, though, with a definite mandate for the BRICS bank capital to be significantly increased, which it is. Now, we've seen a lot of premiums in ruble gold, commanding over $70 an ounce over spot over the last week and a half. As far as the sanctioned countries are concerned, though, unless the Trump administration changes tack, there's a growing number of BRICS nations that see the US government as waging economic war around the world. There's no surprises there. And that is their experience. The Biden administration have seized literally hundreds of billions of dollars of assets from their adversaries and imposed unilateral sanctions. And if we remember, it's mind-boggling, 1/3 of all the countries, including 60% of all the low-income nations, have been sanctioned already. Now, obviously, right now, everyone is feeling each other out, watching the cabinet makeup. And while the Trump administration uncertainty plays out, everyone is leaving their options open. Regardless, the stealthy gold price revaluation process continues. Every single global central bank is diversifying out of dollars, as well as seeking to back their respective local currencies, buying as much gold as possible to bolster the percentage of gold that backs the GDP of these individual nations' currencies. Now, formalized BRIC settlement structures completely aside for the moment, and they're most definitely coming. Likely, as we assessed ahead of the election, it would probably take until the end of November for Putin to announce the launch of his gold-backed currency. Given every single one of these heavily sanctioned nations have, as a direct result of dollar weaponization, been strategically accruing or settling transactions in gold. Indirectly.
So we just heard Putin doing it December 1st, end of November, December 1st, gold-backed currency. All the central banks are buying gold, hand over fist. This was an algorithm that lowered the price because the dollar went higher against other toilet paper monopoly money. So the dollar went higher versus this big fucking deal. This isn't worth anything. This isn't worth anything. The yen's not worth anything. Neither is the Swiss franc or the Canadian. None of them are worth anything. So the dollar's stronger than those currencies is what the bottom line is, which means nothing. It's not that the dollar got stronger. It's not the inflation went down. Trump with the Bitcoin doesn't mean shit because Bitcoin's not real. And they're all buying gold. So please, Nick, everybody else, Luke, don't worry about it. Go fucking buy. I'm going to go buy tomorrow. This is like the sale of the century, as I said. I got it last week. I paid $27.87 for the gold. I thought it was a sale of the century. Here I get another 100. Now I can buy it. It's 110 over. So it's 25. What did I say? About 25.60. So I can get it for 26.70. I'm going to go buy some quarter ounces if he has. I kind of bought it and then I kind of replenished my safe. So my safe is back to where I wanted it. And now I get paid every week and it's just, I'll be buying some gold, pay the credit cards here and then some gold there. And the credit cards are the vacation and some tires for the car and gold. That's my credit card. And I always thought, well, yeah, I'd rather I need to buy the gold now, like $1,800 an ounce, and then let it go up. And, I don't have to pay the credit card all at once, right? You can pay it over time. Who cares? The dollar's worthless. They'll probably go out anyway. Probably won't owe for the credit card. Anyway, that's what's going on. So I wanted just to share the Mark Mgwire with you. We'll do it again tomorrow. But you can see it's just the election was just bullshit. And these guys are in trouble. In the U.S., he says also that the demand for the physical gold is way more than they have. So again, they're going to have to buy it. Again, that's going to kick the price up. You're going to see 3,000 very soon. So I suggest you buy now and stop fucking worrying about algorithms and paper, physical, fiat gold prices. We are looking at the physical price that Vladimir Putin's going to do for us. Tavares, his friend. So Tavares, Putin's going to get us the gold price up because he's coming out with it, I guess, in 2-3 weeks. Even though they didn't say much at BRICS, they're being coy about it. It's just like the Russians. You don't know what's going to happen, and then boom. So We'll see what's going on. This price dump cannot last. Bitcoin cannot last. Bitcoin started going down a little. Well, why? If it's such a good thing, why would it ever go down? See, this is my point about the Ponzi schemes. Do you ever see the Rolex go down that I show you? Or the Mantle card? He's still 75,000. It doesn't go down. Montana's card, 110, 120. Jerry Rice, 120, 140. They don't go down to 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. Those are true assets. And the Bitcoin's not an, I was watching a video from some idiot at work, and he's trying to say the point of Bitcoin is it's decentralized. It's still not money. The fact it's decentralized, so is baseball cards are decentralized. It's not a it's not a stock, it's a collectible. It's just like a baseball card. Only you don't get to hold the mantle in your hand. Well, I have a mantle. Where is it? Well, I can't really see it or show it to you because it's digital mantle. Who the fuck would want a digital mantle card? God damn it. I want Mahomes. I want him right here. I don't want it digital. Well, I can't really show it to you. It's fucking digital. And by the way, I don't really understand 1,000 other people own the same card. Who the fuck? Nothing digital is good. All right. I got to go do the private class, and tomorrow we will check the lines, the injuries. Again, I have a lot going tonight. You can still get in on it. And then I got 2 lock plays in college. The one tonight with tomorrow, and then 2 tomorrow, and then they'd lock in the pros. Your free play is Kansas City over Buffalo and the Lions. Those are your free plays. And that is it. So again, I don't know if people are trying to comment and they can't. I don't think so. It worked yesterday and I didn't do anything. I just go in and say, I want to do a live show, and boom, boom, boom. So hopefully it's just nobody, there's not a lot of people. I can tell people are either watching or it's Friday night and I'm on a little late. Anyway, that's what's going on. So have a good night and good luck tomorrow. www.teaserking.com. You can still get the locks and the picks for the weekend. I highly advise that. Very strong weekend. Pros is not as many, but I got the good ones. And in college, we got all these teams needing to win for the playoffs. So you got extra incentive, art of war there. All right. Oh, and I'm going to leave you with a stoic comment. So I'm in the locker room after swim, and I just throw my bag down and I dry my swimsuit, and then I get dressed and I basically put on my outfit and I go. It takes maybe 5 minutes. And then I was checking, and I had a few people that bought. I had to send them the password. So I'm doing that. And then, and so some guy's next to me, and he opens his locker, and he goes, I don't know, whatever. And then he comes back, and he doesn't say a word. Now I'm at the point where I'm dressed. I'm putting my socks and shoes on. Guy doesn't say anything. I can kind of feel he's just like this, looking at me. And I am just staying stoic. I don't even know that he exists. I mean, I know he's there, but I'm not making any contact with him. I'm just sitting there. I put my sock on, my shoe, putting my other sock and shoe, and he's burning up. I can tell he's getting all upset. And I'm thinking, so if we're at a light and I'm not turning right, but you're turning, well, we're both going to turn right, but I haven't started the turn yet. Are you going to just go around me because I haven't moved yet? It's called patience. I'm here before you. I'm getting dressed. I'm at the socks and shoes. It'll be all of a minute. And you're giving me this hump and puff and, like I should just move. You don't even say, excuse me, or pardon me, here's my locker. I'd like to get to it. You don't say anything. You just give me a dirty look. but I don't give you the satisfaction because I'm not even looking at you. I'm not paying any attention to this guy. And he's burning up because he wants me to move. Like, who the fuck is he? Move so I can get to my locker and get my stuff. And I don't move. I put my socks and shoes on. I get up, I grab my bag. I don't look at him. I turn the other way and go. And I know I fucked him. I know he's all pissed off, and I'm loving every minute of it. That's the art of stoic. So I basically didn't say a word, but he never said, excuse me, here's my locker. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm sitting here now. I'll be out in a minute. Either you can wait a minute or go take a shower. I don't know. Why should I move? If I'm sitting there, I'm there ahead of him. So let's say we're in line. I'm sitting there and I'm putting my socks and shoes on. Why should I move? And at least say, excuse me, I'd like to get to my locker. Okay, I'll move over a little bit. But you're not even saying that. You're just standing there, not saying that. And so when I finally got up, he slams the locker closed. Before I really got out of the way, almost hit me with it. And I laughed, but I just smiled going, yeah, I tilted the guy. I love it. That's what's being stoic. Why should we move? There's no reason we should move. We're there getting dressed. We're sitting in front of this locker. There's a whole row of lockers. Well, if you come, you're waiting, just like at the light. If you're coming to a traffic light and I'm there and then, and you're coming, well, you're going to wait till I start going. It's a red light now, it turned green. Well, I'm going to start moving. So what are you getting mad at? You didn't say, excuse me, and I was here first. So you're going to wait till I leave. And I see and feel you there, and I'm putting my shoes and socks on. So go fuck off. Why do I have to, who are you that I have to move to? Are you Joe Stalin? Are you Adolf Hitler? I'm supposed to just bow down to you? It was some old man, I don't know, in the 70s or whatever. But he expected me to just move without asking me, and I'm not going to do it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm there getting dressed. When I'm done, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. So that is stoic. Okay, that's what we do by it. We are our own person, and we don't take shit from people who basically aren't polite, who are kind of rude, and we don't give a fuck. I don't even give them I don't even look at them. Right? I get up, I turn away, and I walk out, and I'm laughing. That's what a stoic is. You don't let these vampires bother you. Who the fuck are you? Why should I leave? Why should I get out of the way for you? You're not being polite. Go fuck yourself. And as far as I'm concerned, when I'm done, I got up and I left. So you can wait for me to leave. Fuck you. Anyway, that's the stone cold way to do it, right? Give them a hell yeah and throw some beer on them, and that's it. Anyway, off to the private class, www.teaserking.com, a boatload of games. Just jump on the bandwagon with Titus. Man, Titus he cleaned up again last week. So go Titus, go. Anyway, I will talk to you again. I don't see comments. So if your guys are typing comments, I can't read them. The screen's black. I apologize. I don't know why. If you aren't leaving them, then that's another situation. All right, I'll see you tomorrow morning about 10-ish because we got noon games, 10:30, and I will talk to you soon. All right, have a nice night, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Time for a private class.